College, Tacoma campus. He has done this over a number of years. He and I served together on the agenda committee. We worked together for the benefit of the entire college, and he has always been interested in coming to our campus. And through his connection with Dr. Gilbert Shepherd, who kept encouraging him to come, kept the dialogue open, we were fortunate, we were absolutely fortunate to get him here on our campus for this academic year. And I'd like to thank him for coming. He is largely responsible for our speaker today, and so he will have the honor of introducing your Lyceum speaker for today.
Thank you, Dr. Young. We are in for a super treat today. We have a super speaker, one of the best I've seen, someone who I've learned many, many things from. I would like to introduce to you Maureen Taylor from Detroit. She is the director of Michigan Welfare Rights Organization in Detroit, an active participant in the National Welfare Rights Union, and one of the lead organizers of the U.S. Social Forum that was in Detroit this summer. Maureen Taylor has helped work with organized folks to stop water shutoffs, to maintain utilities, to get people into homes, and to work to organize the folks of Detroit to oppose some of the worst kinds of cuts that are going on there, which she will talk to us about in terms of their preview of what we may be seeing here. Please help me welcome Maureen Taylor.
Thank you very much. I bring you greetings from Michigan Welfare Rights. I bring you greetings from the U.S. Social Forum. When Professor Tony called me and said, Maureen, if you would do me this favor, would you come out to the Pacific Northwest and speak during some of the Martin Luther King activities? I was humbled by the invitation and told him, absolutely. On the way here, you know, Detroit is flat. Get on the plane in Detroit and go to Chicago, and I'm trying to find the caramel popcorn that everybody in Detroit wants me to buy them for free, right? So I'm standing in lines all over the place trying to get this popcorn, this caramel corn. It's getting later and later and later because I only had 55 minutes in between flights. So I ended up not being able to get the popcorn. So I said, well, you know, that's sort of the first sign that things are going to be interesting. So I get on the next part of the flight, and, you know, I don't understand the concept of flying. I never get it. So, you know, I always want to sit by the window. So I can be the first one to see anything that looks odd, right? So I'm sitting by the window and watching. And the flight attendant comes through near the end of the flight, almost to Seattle. And she says, as soon as we can find some smooth air, I'm going to walk through the plane and pick up your trash and your cups. Smooth air, what's she doing? Bam! The plane dropped 500 feet right there. Oh, Lord. So I began to call on every religious friend I had. I know how to pray in all languages, and I was doing everything. Baptist, Muslim, Jewish, Islam. I'm rolling in every language there is. Right? Please, whoever you are, put your arms around this. Let's find the smooth area. Because I understand, I didn't know you could find something called smooth air. But she knew about this just seconds before this plane went down. And I should say went down. Before this plane trembled a little bit, let me say it like that. And I thought, okay, the interesting part of this flight is over. So now the next call I get is the telephone call that says the train that you're going to take to Bellingham is not going to take you to Bellingham because we have something called mudslides. I thought, what's that? So I finally get to the place where I'm supposed to go, and then the folks at Amtrak are telling me the same thing. Well, what's a mudslide? And this is the first time I saw this. The guy looks at me and he said, you know, mud and slide. This thing, mudslide, all right? So, you know, okay, so there's a bus that's set, and 6 people get on the bus, and we go to Bellingham. And I'm thinking, you know, this is the most adventurous trip I've ever been on. Not yet. I get to the end of the line, and there's Homeland Security waiting. And I thought, okay, this trip has everything. We got turbulence, we got a mud slide, we got Homeland Security at the end of the event. It's raining, but there's one outstanding feature that helped me to smile during the whole thing. And that is, when I left Detroit on Thursday, it was 14 degrees. When I got here, it was 52 degrees. And you can see I'm kind of flying. You can see that already. I rolled up on that pants thing. I said, whoa, I'm rolling here for the next 4 or 5 days. I didn't care if it was raining because I got good hair. Michigan welfare rights out here. You know, one of the things that I try to infuse in any discussions I have is that I'm an old movie buff. I like black and white films. I like to watch those kinds of things. One of my favorites is not a black and white film, but it's one of my best, and it's the movie The Untouchables. Sean Connery having to listen to Kevin Costner whine, and finally Sean Connery just tells me, you know, all the stuff you talked about, what are you prepared to do about it? So I want to say those words here as I explain some things. What's going on in Detroit is coming to a theater near you. Okay? We used to have something called Dodge Man. We had something called Hoover Avenue Foundry. We had Max Stamping. We had Lynch Road Assembly. We had Cadillac Fleetwood, Cadillac Glass, Rouge Steel, Rouge Kelsey Hayes, Rouge Assembly, Rouge Glass Plant. I'm giving you a very short list of some of the factories that have been humming in Detroit. Excuse me. Some started as old as 1902, 1903, 1904. Because that's what we do in Detroit, we build cars. We build cars for everybody, all over the world. One of the last major tours I was able to engage in is when I took about 45 low-income children between 13 and 16 living in public housing, and we went to the Ford Rouge glass plant. Because I wanted them to see that when you pick up, this is not glass, but when you pick this up, things go into glass, and you need to know how it works. It's one thing to tell a person something, but when you show them, then you understand. I'll stop right there. I took the train from Bellingham to Seattle, and I was able to get on that train, and I looked out the window, and I could see that the track was right here, and the hill was right there. I now understand mud. I go through that mess and I see it. Okay, any little bit of mud falls is on the track. I digress. I took these children to the glass plant and we watched some steel being forged and made hot. We're on a catwalk and we go further. We see some other things being made and we go further and we get to the place where the silicon is being poured and the glass being mixed. And there's, you know, heat, and we're behind screens, but even behind the screens, you know, just boiling hot. And then finally we get to an end of this process, and we might be talking 12, 15 blocks from where we started. And here's the glass going down the assembly line. And there was a fellow there with his hands behind his back, his feet up. And we were asking, you know, wondering what was he doing. Now we're out from behind the glass. And we asked him, you know, what are you doing? Oh, I'm making windshields for different kinds of cars. And what does that mean? He had a computer. And he would punch into the computer. We watched 400 Chrysler windshields. And the die would come down, bam, cut it in one piece, bam, cut the next one, bam, cut the next one, until there were 400 windshields for Chrysler, because they had direct measurements. And we're watching. And then after 400 would be created, he put in the next formula, and it would say Ford windshields, and it's a different sign, a different die. And this die, bam, next one, bam, next one. So we watched this. General Motors, what kind of car it was. This machine was able to cut the correct kind of glass for whatever kind of windshield. So we finally asked the guy, where are the rest of the people that work here? He said, I'm the rest of the people. Okay. He worked 8 hours. There was somebody else who worked the next 8 hours, and somebody else who worked the third 8 hours, and all they did was push the computer. Then there were a couple of people that did maintenance to clean up the grounds. But that was it. There was a time when the Bruised Glass plant had 3,511 people working in it. 35 left. Now it's got 3. What are you prepared to do about it? I used to work at General Motors a long time ago. I was a test driver. You can see that. Test driver for the car, got in there and rolled around. It'll take you a while to figure out what it is you have to do. But then after I understood the task, I was rolling, and I've always had very, very bad allergies. And in my car, there's a computer that was here, and a fan that was attached to the back of the computer. And my job was, after 100 rotations at 100 miles an hour, I had to stop that car, and I had to figure out by computer how long it would take me to stop it, and what the emissions were coming out of it. We pushed the little thing, and the ticket tape would come out and everything. But I always would be focused on trying to make this fan raise up a little bit to try to give me a little cool air. What that do? That fan was solid. Stop on that. Message in this. This computer is more important than me. And I got that. So it came time, the shift got laid off. Second shift. And let me digress a minute too. This is the message for the ladies. Guys, don't listen to this. Girls, you know how happy I was making $56,000 a year?
Yes, ma'am.
You said yes, ma'am. You feel that? And the camera, I didn't even want to buy a new car. I had enough money to rent stuff. Take it back, but I didn't want to do it. I digress. Okay. And that kind of circumstance. So there came a time when the second shift was laid off. And we've been laid off before, and I'm thinking change over and something happens and go back to work. And little girls had a birthday party, baby, something, I don't know. And some of my friends, we got together and went back out to Mile, excuse me, to the proving grounds. And on the grounds where I used to work, there is a warehouse now. Looked at the warehouse inside, and there was a robot driving my car. So I stopped for a minute and I thought, look at this again. I called my partners. I said, I think we're going back here to work. Oh, no. You don't want to do that to us. That was the beginning. And that little dot, that little computer dot, has changed the world. I want to give an historical analysis. Agricultural basis is what the world was based on for years. Serfs, farmers, small farmers, making food for this area, for this county, for this state. That's what was going on for years and years and years before America became America. All right? And we moved from an agricultural-based society to industry. And all these machines, technology being used to enhance labor, create the cotton gin, don't have to have hands anymore, do it. Create all these different machines and whatnot to make productivity go up. Less hands. Safer, less hands. More of it, fewer hands. But that's the trajectory of change. And then we got this whole industrial thing with all those factories and whatnot I was talking about. Dodge Main used to have so many people there that in the second shift at Dodge Main, they had 7 independent baseball leagues. On the second shift, there were so many people at Dodge Main that when the Red Cross needed blood drives for all people were able to get blood, the entire county wouldn't have to go get blood again till the next year. I'm telling you, we were everywhere. That assembly line is what we knew. That assembly line is what you knew. And it not been for Detroit, able to move over from automobile manufacturing to arsenal, to tents, and to armaments and whatnot. For World War II, we would be speaking a different kind of language today. This land got won with the American troops because Detroit said we can change this factory overnight and we can start building tanks in the morning. That's how we roll. And that's what happened. Now, agriculture industry, here comes the computer guy. General Motors now has a device that they manufacture, and it's called R4. And this robot has 3 digits. It's called R4. And that's because this device is being manufactured so that it can pick up things. When it gets to that 4th digit, it'll be this, so it can pick up things. The only reason all automobile factories are not totally mechanized is because it cannot figure a way to put in the dashboard. Anybody in here ever worked in a factory before? You cannot take people's hands to figure out how to put that dashboard in there and move it just right. R4 will be able to put that dashboard in that car. Now we can have an automobile built with no human hands. What does that mean for you? If you are not born a computer, you have issues in just a few more minutes. Things are going to change for you because that means the mechanical, industrial possibilities to direct and to have a world where no hands are needed anywhere is right at your doorstep. I don't have to worry about this because I already saw it coming. Most people think, Maureen, you know, you might be too radical at all. I was in New York a few years ago and saw an automat. You push the button, it's got a bunch of pictures. You know, the people that work in fast food services, you know, we all stupid. So they have pictures of food. So you touch the picture of food you want. And say you pick a hamburger, so you push the button and the hamburger bun falls. So the assembly line, pick every point here, right? On the assembly line. And then the different comments. You want some onions, push there, pop. You want some ketchup, push there, pop. You want some mustard, push there, pop. All stuff you want. Whatever kind of meat, veggie burger. Are there vegans in the room? Any vegans? I have to be careful. You know, vegans, you know how sensitive they are. No meat! No meat! Just vegetables, you know. No meat! Where is it? Go there. Alright, so by the time we get to the end, if there's anything else you want, no. Then you push the last button and the top of the bun comes down. A hand comes out, pushes it, and falls in a bag. You pay your money, and you're gone. And that's what they have. Now, what's that say about the fast food industry? Young people are trying to get jobs at Mickey D's and Burger King and whatnot. That's not working. You know, there are not enough chairs in this building right now. We better figure out how to get in these colleges until they just bulge you. Because things are changing. We've left agriculture. We're through with industry now. You may not see it, but I'm telling you, sisters and brothers, I've been in all these states. Industrial technology has not hit, and they don't need you to work anymore. So if your gig is about hands, you're in trouble. You better be going back and try to figure out how to make your name C3PO. But that's where you're going. That's the new world. Now, that's the message that I want to bring. And the question is, what are you prepared to do about it? In the social forum, that was from June 20th to June 26th in Detroit, Michigan, 22, 23, 24,000 people came. I say that because the computers wore out. The computers just went dead, and they just stopped functioning. After about 21,000 people were registered, the computers just gave out and just couldn't do anything else. People were so tired of standing and waiting in line to be registered. We told them there's nothing else we can do. Computers are exhausted and not functioning. Just go to your workshop. Do the best you can. We'll figure out later on how many, 2, 3, 4. After do it like that, there's nothing else we can do. And there were several reports that came out that were logistical reports. One was there was no crime committed while 22, 23, 24,000 people came. Tactical police went to the Detroit City Council and said they were bored stiff. That people came to Detroit, there were no knifings, there were no shootings. I don't know what they thought was going to happen. But all of this happened, and the tactical police had on the tactical gear and whatnot, so they started complaining after the third day. This stuff is too hot. These people didn't come here to fight and whatnot. They came here to change the world. Why do we have to wear all this mess all day long? That is the report that was given by police departments, that this was a wonderful event, and how can we figure out things? In Tacoma Hall, which was the center of where this event took place, we demanded gender-free bathrooms. I didn't even know what it was in the beginning. I know what it is now. But we had gender-free bathrooms, and we made that happen. And Tacoma Hall is now asking for continuous training and whatnot to update people on these cultural and these gender issue items, because we were able to forge a relationship and get that happen. Probably the strongest relationship that we were able to build was the meetings that we had at least a year before June 20th, and we started meeting with Homeland Security. Now Detroit is a border town. You know, we right across the road from Canada. This trick thing that just happened to us about having to have a passport to go to Canada. We usually go to Canada on weekends and hobnob with the casino, not with the casino, but dinner or whatever the case may be. But now all of a sudden you have to have a passport to go 15 minutes. So of course this was about money. United States of America needs for money, and that's what this was about. But clearly the issue was we didn't want people coming from around the world to Detroit and Homeland Security following. And we never did with Homeland Security in Detroit. We have immigration issues, but you know, we don't have those kinds of fights like maybe you have here. Certainly the ones that are going on in Texas and whatnot. You know, Homeland Security gets on people's nerves and they do these immigrant sweeps and whatnot, we hate it, but we usually just go there, call them, mother some names, throw some things, get the people out of here. Hey, on. You know, outside of the Middle East, the largest group of people that live in Detroit in terms of from the Middle East live there. And outside of the Middle East, we can't have bombings. We can't have people shooting one another because I'm Muslim and this is Jewish. So we've already been to everybody's community and we told them, we're not rolling with that. We have to live together. We all can't agree. So we steal each other's SUVs. We steal each other's jewelry, we go to each other's stores and whatnot, rob each other. It's all good, but that's what we do. It's fine. We're going to write a shot though, you know, we go in and steal your car, and you drive it for 2 or 3 days, and we leave it someplace, usually out of gas, and you come get it. This works. Because that's the atmosphere that we have to live in. We can't have this level of stuff going on. But we certainly going to rob one another. Steal electricity and whatnot, go to the pawn shop and you get back up. Same kind of circumstance happened during those 6 days when the social forum was here. And it became an issue, and it continues to be an issue now, because the politics of the social forum was to have people come to Detroit and validate what we had been saying. This downturn in the economy is not our fault. It's that the economy has changed because technology no longer needed us. It don't need us anymore. Why they need to ride a car around if the robot can do it? The robot doesn't go to the bathroom. I want to go to the restroom every now and then. I want to be out on the weekends. I want to race. The robot don't care nothing about that. That's the message. What are you prepared to do about the stuff that's happening? I don't know the kinds of curriculums and whatnot that go on here. I listened to the very effervescent, I just met this young lady today, Dr. Love. And Dr. Young, I know something about love and young, something I went too far away. I was in the golf park, I knew that. But something about her spirit and that transformation that we had when we just met each other today. But I tell you, you got to go do more. This beast has been let out of the cage. This corporate monster that is the face of capitalism, and that's what we're talking about, is out and is in the hallway. It's like Jaws, a feeding frenzy. It eats up everything. These corporations don't care about dirt. They don't care about water. They don't care about air. I know why we had mudslides, especially after I rolled back. And people need to give up some more money. What did you all do? No! Which is the dumbest thing on earth. And that's the one they put all the way across the country. Well, sir, madam, why don't you want rich people to pay more taxes? Well, I'm 76 years old, and I might get the lottery. And if I get the lottery, I don't want to have to pay more taxes. I can afford this. About, standing on the fence of violence and non-violence. And I'm on that fence. But I was around that one, and Dr. Cozier, now I don't hear that. I was a pimp snap that was quick. We never get that kind of interview again. And everybody wants to look stupid, So, that's the issue. And we got that kind of momentum and that kind of thought. And I know clearly that that's not what the intent was. That is not what the average person would want to happen. But that was just so devastating. And whether you know it or not, that made headlines across the country. They came to Detroit, and now the people in Washington understand what we need. Be quiet. You better be quiet, because we ain't too far from pimp slapping in Detroit. You will get hit saying that kind of dumb stuff here. That's the message. What are you prepared to do about it? I want to say to you that I see people that are quite young in this audience. I see some veterans in this audience. I see some people that are interested in life. I saw somebody's foot hanging out there a little while ago. There she is, with that beautiful green blouse on. And the message becomes, what are you prepared to do about her? What are we going to do? Now, I've got a 22-year-old who grabbed a gun the other day and shot up folks. And, we all shot. Oh, my goodness, how did that happen? Shut up. Ask that question. Well, all this hate rhetoric, well, that might or may not have been the answer. But I tell you one thing that's not in question. People saw that that young man was spiraling out of control for a long time. The daddy chasing him in the bag with the bag and the gun. His friends, his college buddies talking about you weirder and weirder. The college itself saying, you can't come back to school until you go get that psychological evaluation. Send somebody to the house to help him. All of these budget cuts. Let's throw out money for mental health right now. We don't need that. And the most progressive thought is to put the folks that need mental health in the community. I don't want that to happen. I am a social worker, a master level social worker. I ain't no joke. I am a social worker, the deep social worker. And I understand the kinds of roots and whatnot that you have to deal with. But as much as we need community mental health in the community, you have to have, some folks have to have some additional assistance. Mental health is just like diabetes or cancer, anything else. You got to go there and work with it. We got people all over, shadow box, talking to themselves. Where do you live? There's nobody in this room that doesn't have a family member that's involved in psychotropic drugs, needing something because they hear voices, needing something because they're bipolar, needing something because they're depressed. If nothing else, depressed. Surgeon Generals have been issuing the same report every single time. 66% of the American population has unrecorded mental health issues. 66%. And I know it's probably more than that now. What the heck happens if you lay a person off like they did at American Axle? Been working 30 years and your salary was $30 to $31 an hour. And they lay it off now. It's only 2 action plants and they're both shut down. And just before I got here several weeks ago, they are now rehiring workers. And American Axle started selling $8.50 an hour and no benefits. The most you can make at American Axle, they kept it off at $11.15. What are you prepared to do about it? You have a problem. I have a problem. See, I wear clean underwear, I can go to jail and you all probably fastidious. I have this problem. I am very clear that I'm walking on the road of social justice. Okay? I'm never mixed up about it. Always clear. I'm going to fight to be the patriot. Somebody said to me the other day that sounds like George Bush. George Bush lies a lot about a lot of things. And I'm not letting these corporate people take over my vocabulary. I'm a patriot. And my patriotism says that students ought to be able to go to college from birth to death for free. That's what I think. Education needs to be honored. Okay? And that's what should happen. I'm a patriot. So my patriotism tells me if there are Vietnam or Iraq or era soldiers or whatnot and they go and serve and they come back, I don't want to stand in a line. The only line they need to stand in is when you get off the plane and here's the key to your new house and here's the key to your car. You've already done the sacrifice. I don't want to hear anything else. I'm the kind of patriot that says everybody who got here from someplace else stole every piece of land they could from every Native American. I don't want to hear nothing about casinos and how Native Americans going to get rich. Just give them about $50,000 a year and just write them checks so they don't want no more money. You know, now how are we going to do that money thing? Here's how you do the money thing. You go to the cash machine. You all got ATM. Now, what's her house? My mom was still alive. I took her to Toronto in 1999 when the year was changing. And they were all scared. You all scared. 2000 coming. The banks gonna collapse. Your money gonna disappear. You all know you're scared. Like you got courage now. You know you're scared. And all the time, and I took my mom, and we was over there, great sacrifice and everything. And the sacrifice is that I wanted them to have a good time. Them being my mom and my kid at the time. And we went and we did the ATM thing, and on strike of midnight, I was showing my mother parked a car in the middle of the street, and I had an ATM machine, and I said, Mama, look, you know, capitalism will crash because we changed from the one year to the other. If that was that easy, we would have crashed a long time ago. But back to this money thing, it should say, you know, Barack Obama, I'm sure you can do this, he's a smart man. Yeah. Put a machine that said cash, you put it right in the White House. You don't put a lot of guards on it. We're not interested in 1s and 5s and 10s, we're like hundreds. And just push right on machine. Give them about $16 million. That's right. About $16 million. You know, if you want to stand in the line next to her, bring a cup of coffee and a piece of apple pie every day. But that's all we need to do. We need to change our core priorities. Of course, I make light of this because I know that it's much more serious. And people want to say it's much more complex, but it's not serious. When you were 4 or 5 years old, you were taught what you needed to learn for the rest of the time you were here. Hold hands, go to the bathroom together, okay? Share, say thank you, may I? You got a piece of sandwich and your friend don't have none, you break the sandwich, you give it to your friend. Got a little boy, he's 4 years old now. He's in a preschool, and he comes around to the job, and we babysit him sometimes. And he went to school, and 4 years old, and one of his friends was crying. What's the matter? Mommy didn't have any money, and I couldn't get no lunch. So the next day, he goes into his mother's bedroom and brings out her rent. She's got $500-600 in the purse. The 4-year-old said, hey, we ain't gonna have that problem no more. Here's lunch money. So you get up with 4-year-old $500-600. But that's the purity in which we pray. He understood the problem, so he went home. So mama got money. There's no issue. And the next day, they look at him. that we have learned. And every day after that, you start to unlearn things. I'm going to end by telling you this. Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor goes to a motel with a woman that's not his wife. He's in the room, playing chess. And the wife finds out and goes to the hotel room, bam, kicks the door. And Richard jumps up and says, all right, are you going to believe what I tell you, or are you going to believe your lying eye? I want you to believe your lying eye. The situation has changed. You have to do something to alter what's going on. You ain't got to come to Detroit and fix what's going on there, because I'm going to roll with that one. But here, you fix it. Make certain every student that wants to go to school gets in here, whether they got a nickel or not. You make sure that these people I've seen on the way out here that put a sign that says, we'll work for food. I don't want to see all those people out here. You fix that. You make certain that the municipal water that's owned by the folks that live in this city, nobody ever gets their water turned off. We have 40,000 people with their water turned off in Detroit, Michigan for a year. 40,000. I never want to hear that second this year. I was in Olympia yesterday and met a woman in her 60s who said she's been homeless for 3 years. Shame on you. She was standing in front of the Capitol, and I made it clear the Capitol is public housing. That damn thing belongs to you. Should have moved her in the Capitol building. You don't need to have all this complaining about health care. If you live through the birthing process, you walk up in here with a car and say, my name is Maureen Taylor, and my foot hurt. Fix it. I ain't had nothing else about nothing else. You do what you have to do, because I will come back and I will spank you. You coming out here. My name is Maureen Taylor. I'm the state chairperson. Now, I'm on my best behavior today, because I got a couple of 7- and 8-letter words that I used to use, but I didn't do that today. But any questions? Anybody have anything about welfare or about the social forum? Any of those kinds of things. What I did tell you is that I'm more than just a pretty face. People just think that that's all I am. I have a bachelor's degree in social work, a master's degree in social work. And I write at one of those issues that's being passed out now. You all are familiar with the classic called Wuthering Heights? Well, this is called Withering Heights. So what did you see? I do a little bit more than just a pretty face. Yes,
thank you so much for coming. Do you work with groups of people that are mobilized, making a difference in their communities? And if so, what groups, what do you do?
Let me give you the national message. Since the social forum, I visited probably 30 places, 30 cities all across the country, and working blue-collar people are on the move. Okay? Those stories are not broadcast, you can't get any information on TV, but people are moving across the nation angry. We don't want to spend all our money on war. We do want education. We do want a quality of life improvement. So those things are going on a regular basis. Now, I work with the National Welfare Rights Union. So organizations like Power, that's very important here, and organizations that do work around eliminating poverty. I'm in touch with a lot of them. Do you think it's hard to eliminate racism in America? Stop trying to do it. Stop trying to do it. Deal with this question of eliminating poverty.
Amen.
That race thing will catch up. They're not the time that you go in and deal with that one that's different. Welfare recipients, the problem is that they just have too many babies. babies out of wedlock. Yeah, okay. Here's a story about a young mother who had she had 4 children. 2 were stillborn. She married a man who ended up getting shot in the head. What do you think about that story? What does it tell you about the story? I'm describing Jacqueline Kennedy. That's not what you was thinking. Yeah, that's not what you were thinking. See, there are stereotypical kinds of things. So I work a lot with homeless groups and welfare groups. There are 70, oh, I forgot that. Where's my paper? I'm going to make it to the head of security, make sure I get my stuff in. 2010, 4-fitted houses. These are homes that were taken back by the county because people couldn't pay the taxes. Not that we didn't get the mortgages, that's just taxes. And I wanted you to look at it. Dr. Flip open a few of those so people can see, you know, little bitty addresses. There's 72,000 foreclosed on homes in Wayne County. Okay? There are 83 counties in Michigan where I live. And I live in the largest one, which is Wayne County. 36 cities in Wayne County. So Detroit, Garden City, Taylor, Grosse Pointe, Farm, Grosse Pointe Hills, Flat Rock, all of that. And just in Wayne County, 72,000 homes foreclosed on. Now, 72,000 houses, 15,000 homeless people. And that's the folks that are inside of a shelter. There are more than that, but these are the ones that get shelter space, okay? 72,000, 15,000 homeless. 72,000, 15,000 homeless. 72,000 houses, 15,000. What should we be doing? I would put this 15,000 in them 72,000 houses. Then there wouldn't be homeless no more. I don't see anybody out there with a sign and start telling me we'll work for food and all that. Here's your new key. And get in there, and we're going to see you out on the streets anymore. Why are we afraid? We're afraid. We're afraid. There's no problem that you all have in Seattle or Tacoma or any place else that you can't solve. Nobody's being asked to find and cure the cancer in this room. Not today. But I'm sure that somebody in this room, maybe even today, can certainly solve these budget issues. You got to stay out. Look at some of those budget cuts. And they always come after the low income first. Because we all unorganized. You know, all we want to do is get another, six-pack. And you remember that movie, Mr. Ed, the horse? A lot of us act like Mr. Ed. If you can live on a welfare grant, you can run the state. Because welfare recipients can make $1 an hour. Why don't we do stuff? We just too slow. And the reason we're too slow is because we always wait on someone else to fix our problem. The Democrats say, hey, take care of my business, vote for me, and I'm going to take care of your business. Republicans say, vote me in office, and I'm going to take care of everything. Independents say, look, hey, neither one of them are right. Just vote for me, and I'm going to handle everything. Every Democrat, every Republican, every independent, they all got health care. Do you? Hey, what's up with this? You want to know the difference between the independent and the Republican and the Democrat? Line them up, take all the clothes off of them, put a brown paper bag on them, touch them, feel them everywhere, and you will not be able to tell the difference. You will not be able to tell the difference. You got to have people that's going to work on your survival issues. And survival issues says housing, food, health care, safety, education. And we're not asking nobody to do those kinds of things. When I get a chance to vote in the voting booth, it doesn't say, Maureen, check here if you want a higher quality of life. There has never been a choice that I can make when I get that voting booth. So what I do is what this young lady talked about. I find organizations, low income, homeless, veterans especially. I still understand a homeless vet. Somebody has to explain that. But I work with those groups because the message is we don't have to live like this. We can eliminate poverty. I am involved in an organizational structure that's quite new, and I would invite some of you to have to get involved. And it's called the Assembly. And the Assembly is a number of organizations, coalitions from around the country, and we're all getting together conference calls. The founding meeting happened about 3-4 weeks ago in Chicago. And it's only a single goal, and that's to eliminate poverty. You know, we don't have to live like this. We got 1-2% of the people that own this percentage of the resources. And you know, I think we should, we don't have to make this country continue to spiral out of control. You know, the reason there are people outside the United States of America that's always mad at us and always upset and whatnot, it's because we boast about things. That I'm all this and I'm all that. And then you come to this country, you see, you know, some of these things are lies. These things are not true. We had 19 men get on 4 planes and have changed the way air transportation is operating forever. 19 guys. They divided up 3, 4, 5 on 4 planes, and they had box covers. I can't understand how that could have happened. There were 200, 300 other people on the plane, and 3 or 4 dudes say, "I'll go to the back, or I'm going to beat you up." You would have who else? You would have had to show that army. You know what? Those guys should have been captured. Maybe we would have had some people injured, but that's American psyche. I've been told to go to the back of the plane, so I'm going to go on the back. Man, if Detroiters had been on that plane, somebody said, "This is what we're going to do." Not today, bro. Not today. Somebody going to leave. What we're going to do? Open this door in flight. You're going to go out, and the rest of us is going to where we want to go. But it's the way we are trained. Go stand in line and wait for somebody to fix it. Wait for somebody to do it. I'm telling you, these elected officials are not coming. Who's religious in the room? Is your churches, are they handling homelessness, education? Are they handling those things? Or are they showing up on Sunday with the collection plate? We can all do better. I don't understand why Muslims just pray with Muslims. What's the matter? Muslims can't come to my Methodist church? That's what we do. I want to hear what y'all talking about. Come on in here and let me hear that. Don't be mumbling. I want to hear loud. Jewish folks, but you can't come to my church? My church is Methodist. And we have everybody having services. And I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear nothing in a different language. Tell me what you're talking about. And I swear to God, in Jewish synagogues, they say, "Holy, holy, holy, stone, stone of black God." In the Jewish church, I couldn't believe it. It was so fantastic. I knew all the words because these are Negro spirituals that they sang in the Jewish synagogue. You go to the temple and listen to some things in there. Hey, I recognize those songs. I recognize those prayers. We have so much more in common than we have that differentiates us. And we don't look for that unity. But I tell you, at the end of the day, it's about rigid pride. Believe what I tell you? Or believe your mind right? Who else has a question? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Carol Williams, I'm a senior, and I was just curious if you would speak on...
Well, what is it? A senior in what?
I am a senior, and my main focus here at Evergreen is social science and environmental studies.
Environmental studies, does that mean involvement with the earth and grass and saving whales?
Environmental justice. Environmental studies in regards to water rights and poverty.
You'll tell me between now and the time you write your first dissertation, why are we always focused on saving the whales? And we got people that are beaching themselves every day.
No,
But you tell me about that later. I don't need no
yeah,
south.
maybe one day. But my question to you is, we talk about all of the issues and, there are political solutions, and I was just wondering if you could speak on campaign finance reform and how that is affecting the fact that these things are really not going to take place unless we change how money is allocated.
Thank you. Campaign finance reform is the issue that we don't need to talk about, and what my feelings might be about that. Any phrase or any description that corporations use to define a process is already flawed. As soon as it comes out of their mouth, you might as well assume there's something wrong with it. Right? If this was a free democracy, which is what they want folks to believe, then campaign finance reform wouldn't be an issue. If you wanted to run for office and you had $22, and he wanted to run for office and he had $22,000, and you wanted to run for office and he had $22 million, all three of you ought to have access to television, radio, and whatnot, so that you can all give your message. That's a campaign finance reform is based on whether or not we want to have elections won by people that have more money. And if you have a lot of money, you can advertise and you can do more publicity. I don't think that that's appropriate. I think that's wrong. I also think it's wrong for if everybody on this side of the room is running for an office, and some of you are blue states and some of you are red states, and the red states win, and I voted for a blue state, I think maybe the red states get these many votes, but I want my feelings and my thoughts represented as well. I prefer that. The blue states need to be able to say something as well. There's nothing equal about what happens here. It's the Richard Price stuff. They tell you, well, this is what we're based on, but you can say there's something wrong with it. Finance reform means that everybody has equal access to what everybody else has. Now, who do you think will fight you about that? The same ladies who did the Washington interview about why we don't want to tax rich people. Yeah, good. Yes, yes, sir. They get money.
Spoke about technology.
Yes.
And I think that your viewpoint is we're not going to have.
We know that.
So you asked the question, what do you think about it?
Yes.
What do you see? What options are being explored for this? We're not going back, and we're doing these post-name.
Excellent question. This is the problem that you see. You're very young man, and this is the problem that you and your generation will have to deal with. Because once that chicken is out of the egg, you can't put it back. We're not going back to the 50s and 60s and 70s. Something else has got to happen. On my way here, on the plane, if you wanted to buy some things, you had to have a credit card because they wanted to cash. I haven't had to spend a single folding piece of money anywhere because nobody wants that. You have to use your credit card everywhere. So we're moving toward a world and existence, a society without money. We're moving in that direction. Now, how are we going to fix this? If everybody in this side of the room and half the people on this side of the room get laid off, okay, you work at whatever factory I talked about, and all of you are laid off, and only me, what's your last name? Mr. Hill and what's your last name? And Mr. Savoy, we're the only three that are still working. Now, all of us have worked together for 15, 20 years. You know, we went to our rituals together, we went baptism together, funerals. We know each other for years. Now the corporation is saying, all these people over here got laid off because they use drugs, because they're alcoholics, and a whole bunch of them got all these children, and out of wedlock, late to work all the time. These folks over here, they got all these problems. So the only three people that was left was these three, and we had to get rid of these other ones because they were bothering and hampering technology. And we listen to that. And we know. Me and her worked together for 20 years. I know she was drinking. What about it? She still got to eat. And say all these ugly things. And we knew it was wrong, but we just kind of set back. This concept that wasn't good for General Motors, if they lay off half their workers or 2/3 of their workers is better for them in terms of the bottom line because their productivity is better, that's not better for you, Louise. They give us some unemployment benefits. And we want that. But then at the end of this extension and this extension and this extension, I don't know what the answer is. What I do know is we cannot continue in what we have done. We don't have a blueprint. I'm sure the farmers, when agriculture went to industry, they were trying to figure out what we're going to do. We sure enough have to figure out what we're going to do now. Because all of these people, and half the folks over here, except for us three, are going to have a job that we're familiar with.
All the rest of you have to figure out something else. They got something called green jobs. You're not prepared to do it. Because you ain't know what a green job is yet. That's a new phrase. What does that mean? We have to figure something out. It might mean that this gentleman comes up with the idea. And it might mean that you work 1 day a week, 8 hours, and that's enough to pay for everything. Could be that. But we're going to have to figure out something. What we know is you work, you get a check, you cash it, you run out of money, you go back to the job, you get a check. That's what we know. That has changed, brothers and sisters. Not done that anymore. So because you lost your job, do you have to lose your health care? The answer is yes. Here. If you lose your job, your health care goes with it. Isn't that what happened? If you lose your job, they got the right to repossess your car. You know, 36 months on the lease, and maybe you had it for 30 months and you never behind, now you lost your job. Here they come to take the car back, and you got a mark on your record. You didn't do anything wrong. You got a 30-year mortgage on your house. You worked 22 years. Now you're off work. You got 3 children in college. You got a car, bills, and whatever else. Your lifestyle is built on what you were making. Now you have 8 years, and you can only take that so long before you get to the welfare department. In Michigan, a mother and a child is eligible for $450 a month cash. How much does a cheap apartment cost here? $600? So you can get the front porch, the back porch, and 2 rooms. We got to figure something else out. And that's the hard part of this. How can you describe something that you've never seen before? If I tell you to go draw me a picture of whatchamacallit, you don't know. But what we have is 7.3 billion people on this earth, and 5.9 billion of them unemployed. This ain't going to work. This is not going to work at all. We got all these Africans that came from the south, folks from India, Bangladesh, down in South America, unemployment, hunger, all this kind of stuff going on. And we over here want to work, people are mad. Now you get mad because they laying you off now. All these kids that go into the Army, so many of them go because the recruitment is done in the college. And they go off and, you know, young men standing there, you know, doing M&L and 2 boxes, whatever, and they go. And here comes a recruiter. Hey, you know, you sound good. You got a job right now? I'm not working. Did you know, if you come to the United States Army, we got a piece in there that can show you how to record. And you can make some CDs while you're in the Army. Yeah? Doing all that stuff. It's sign right here. You can't do that. You can get that M1 carbine and whatever that training going on with. But that's what we have. We have to have defense in the country. But not based on trickery. And not based on there's nothing else for you to do but to go into the Army. You know? I don't know what we got to do. I know what we can't continue. We cannot continue what we have now. And that's why when a 22-year-old goes to grab a gun, start shooting up folks, and you go, how did that happen? Stop. He wasn't prepared to do anything else. You didn't help him when he needed some help. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Well, so there's a lot of movement going on in sustainable economics and local business, local.
They're so glad to hear, so good to hear.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a concept in Detroit is being floated that says what we can do is replace some of the jobs that are lost with urban gardening. And urban, it will have to be seasonal because Detroit is in the north and it's probably going to stay there. Okay? And 4 or even 5 months out of the year is when this kind of thing can happen. So I guess at the end of the growing season, we got to get some serious canning done. But in terms of money, we probably have to employ what you're talking about, certainly answer his questions. This young lady in the back that talks about getting groups and stuff together, and then we got to do some other kinds of things. Because again, 7.3 billion on Earth, 5.9 billion unemployed. And I don't know if environmental or urban gardening will solve all of that. Yeah, fix this. But I like the idea.
We're going to close the questions, but the schedule will be around if you want the gift back.
I'd like to thank you for coming today. Your speech today has been very empowering, very inspiring. I think all of us, it's giving us a lot to think about as far as our futures, and I'm glad that it didn't come to a problem. It made us think outside.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate the fact that you did a camera, because a lot of times people just think, you lose them because it's too serious to see them. And then when you get a camera, it just really sucks you in, and you had full attention to everybody, you're waiting for you to say that this on this funny thing, you know. And I'm glad that you can walk over across to the nation and spread this and wake people up. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Dr. Young said, Dr. Zaragoza, you know, you had something to do, I knew it was going to be good. And I just thank you for being who you are, for falling into your place of destiny and time, and for being here with us today. You know, there's nothing like encouragement. You know, sometimes you get started, like you say, we get what they call it, bystander syndrome, you know, and so you need something to shake you, put some fire under you, you know, or whatever. Everything that you're saying is real, and things are not going back. It's going to happen. You know, it rains a lot out here, and people are late. I can't, when I moved here from Florida, and everything back then closed at 6 o'clock, you know, and it's still very late back here. But they don't have to get up because, like you said, it's coming here. And the store may close at 6, but at 6 in the morning, you don't want something to eat again. And so I appreciate you. Thank you.
Madam Taylor, thank you for coming to share with us this morning. I can't apologize for all the meetings here, watching this state, or the issues that you brought up. My income tax is wealthy, but we had a class here last quarter on midterm report card and follow the history of that. And the consensus was that people will vote against their own best interests. And I just want to tell you thank you, and I'm sorry that you were affected by that in Detroit. Thank you for coming to us, for sharing your knowledge and doing the work that you do. Thank you.
I want to say thank you as well. I consider what you gave us an experience, not just speaking. It came with humor, it came with love. I want to give you a gift. You take a word back to Detroit. It's called hydroponics.
Dr. Zaragoza made us aware last quarter about this robotic thing, and it's really scary to think that we're being taken over by our TV. And we need to think of a way to make the changes and bring it here at this campus, put that on their mind to try to make the change here. And we wish you, I wish you personally, no more mudslide. Smooth air on your way to the place so you can go back.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor, for coming and sharing and enlightening us. And I just really appreciate your passion and setting the record straight on a lot of issues that affect us. And I appreciate your dedication to these issues. And I wish you a safe trip back to Detroit.
Thank you.
Again, I really thought your passion was just very, consuming. Like, it just makes me want to get up and go do something. And that I love the way how you made the focus go on poverty instead of all the other crazy distractions that go on in our world that other people, a lot of people still look at nowadays. But I think that's beautiful focusing in on poverty, and that's an issue for everyone, that everyone's got that same similarity no matter what social class, because they're all getting affected by it somehow. And I just really want to say thank you. It's great that you want to bring that community together, and I'm like right there with you. Thank you.
I better hurry up and run up here because I'm sure you're going to give me a hug because I'm from I remember you brought a lot of memories. Oh, this is on behalf of the faculty. You brought a lot of memories for me personally because my family, even though I'm born and raised in Detroit, my family comes from Alabama. And for years, my cousins would come to stay with us. And until they got jobs in the factories. And because of that, they sent their children to college. And children after children. So we became first generation college because of that. We bought homes because of that. We had health care because of that. We partied because of that as well.
Tell me what kind of car you used to drive.
It was a Ford. My grandfather always worked at a Ford, and so did my father. You know, our motto here is enter to learn, depart to serve. And I think that you have definitely, I know you have definitely reminded us of that and said you would spank our legs if we didn't. And I appreciate that because that wasn't about punishment. That was about passion. It was merely a metaphor for us to put this in my life. Because it seems like you're always, I met you first in film through Professor Zaragoza in a film called The Waterfront, and maybe we'll show that film one day. Because what this phenomenal Detroit woman of the world has done with her fellow people there in Detroit in Highland Park was to make a way out of nowhere. When the water was turned off in Highland Park, she didn't just go by herself to the corporations or just bemoan it in media, but helped to organize her fellow sisters and brothers cross race lines and sometimes cross class lines. But for sure, right there, embedded in the community, to turn that around, and you turn that around. So it is important that she reminds us of the importance of making a way out of no way. Because we're going to be like Fannie Lou Hamer said, we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I thank you because practice is definitely practice.